Welcome back, everybody, to the Always Bayern Chelsea show. I'm pumped. If you can't tell, Bayern Munich and Chelsea are both into the quarterfinals of the FIFA Club World Cup. Things are looking up for this show in particular, and we're just coming out right out of the gate hot and excited and pumped up. Jim is back in a glorious return from the woods of Canada. So yeah, we got so much to talk about. Big matches, like I said, for Bayern and Chelsea. Chelsea beat Benfica, Bayern beat Flamengo. Both teams avenging each other, beating the winners of their respective groups. So an extra special return for you, Jim. How are you? Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back. Yeah. I mean, if you're watching on YouTube or listening, whatever, you want to go watch because you'll probably see my face is looking flustered. I've been in the wilderness for a week. Really have not showered much in that week. Got a lot of sun, so I'm really feeling a lot of it right now. But a lot of good football, soccer was played while I was gone, and we're gonna talk about some of that today because both of our teams are in the final eight of the Club World Cup, and if it's possible, I not only think this is the worst tournament of all time, but also the best of all time. Really tough to say. Just very polarizing.
Oh man, I completely agree with you. And even before we get into it, I gotta say, the fact that you haven't showered makes me so happy that we're in separate locations for this one. If you're wondering why, I mean, maybe if I step outside and take a big whiff, I'll be able to smell you from down the road. But here we are in separate spots. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, both of us have been so busy lately. I've just been go, go, go with all these different photography jobs. And yesterday I was at my younger brother's graduation party, so I wasn't able to watch the Chelsea Benfica match, unfortunately. So, yeah, if you want to start with that one, you can take the reins for that. Obviously, Chelsea ended up winning 4-1, in a match where, from my understanding, the scoreline certainly doesn't show how close it was. I mean, it went into extra time. So let's talk about it. I know both of us are not happy with a lot of the officiating and the corruption, you could call it, from FIFA in this Club World Cup and just how it's been run. So yeah, good way to put it. A tournament that I have a love-hate relationship with right now as well.
Yeah, so to set the scene, and that's a good summary there, but I headed up on my trip Friday, I think it was the 19th or 20th. Caught most of the Flamengo Chelsea game, not all of it, so I know it was a shit performance. Chelsea didn't play their best. Flamengo, to be fair, great team. Brazilian teams have been outstanding, or as they say above us, outstanding. But yeah, kind of tough there. And then, of course, I missed the Chelsea game against the Tunisian squad. Good win from all accounts. And Chelsea are through. And unfortunately, yesterday was on the road once again, then coming back for the Benfica match. So when you're driving through the north woods of Canada, down through Upper Peninsula of Michigan, upper parts of Wisconsin, you're not getting the greatest service, but was able to kind of catch some of it live. Also, just followed a lot on Twitter. A lot of people that I trust that are diehard Chelsea fans, analysts, the like, armchair managers. So really could tell the vibe of the match. And I think I kind of have a pretty solid understanding of what down, watching highlights and whatnot. And really just seemed like not only a crazy match, whether you're a neutral Chelsea fan, Benfica fan, but also amazingly one of the most dominant performances that Chelsea has had in the Maresca era, by all accounts. From what I've seen from not only YouTube videos from people that I follow that are Chelsea fans, but just everything I'm seeing, they really just played well. And if it were not for great goalkeeping from Trubin, as well as the ref having Benfica blood, I mean, not only a jersey underneath his ref kit, but literally must have been born in Portugal, came out of the womb yelling, up the Benfica because from what I saw and from what people were saying, just absurd amounts of corruption.
Yeah, I mean, I can, like I said, I didn't catch this match, but I saw highlights of it, and I'll be inclined to believe you with what I've seen from the refereeing in this tournament so far, and also what you said about Trubin. Man, when Benfica played Bayern Munich, beat them 1-0, that winning the group. We won't talk about the Kimmich goal that got disallowed. But Trubin had an outrageous performance in that match as well. I mean, that was a match that Bayern dominated for the second half. Now, Bayern put up a B squad lineup, got creamed in the first half, and then dominated in the second half with their regulars. But yeah, couldn't get a goal to stand in that second half, and Trubin was just unreal. I'm sure he was prime Neuer against Chelsea as well. If what I'm reading has any truth to it, so yeah, there was that, and I'm I talked about this a little bit in my Benfica Bayern breakdown, but and this doesn't really apply to even Benfica as much because they're a European team, but tinfoil hat on for a second. If you think about it, it would benefit FIFA to have a lot of these South American teams do well because their main selling point for this tournament is to be a competitor to UEFA, which is the Champions League, obviously only European teams. So, I'm not saying it's totally I don't know, a fugazi situation here where smoke and mirrors and FIFA's pulling the strings underneath the surface, but it would benefit them commercially to have a lot of these kind of underdog teams that you don't see much in European competition. It would benefit FIFA to have them go farther in a tournament like this, truly a World Cup.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I kind of agree that these Portuguese teams are a bit like South American teams. Culturally, I think they are, and they're also not the so-called top five leagues in Europe. So you can kind of look at it that way. I don't know. I mean, it's been an interesting tournament. I think we'll have maybe more thoughts at the end of this tournament on it as a whole. But I mean, this match, yeah, from all accounts, Chelsea were so dominant, especially in that first half, and ton of chances. I think the risks that Maresca made with his lineup were very interesting and paid off. Putting Palmer as kind of a left-sided 10, really having Cucurella overlap a ton with Palmer. Their connection, we saw was really fantastic. Haven't seen a lot of that. Maresca's kind of been toying with that a lot in this Club World Cup. And that's awesome to see him adapt and adjust, try new things. Neto's been unbelievable on the right wing. Um, but yeah, Chelsea to put up one of their better performances, not be leading at half, and then come out in the second half and still be strong. And then Reece James puts in one of the better free kicks that you'll see, for the day that Trubin had. Wasn't good enough on that free kick. Whether it's deciding to go with only a two-man wall, I don't think he even had weak positioning. I think literally if you see the angles of that Reece James free kick, it was the perfect spot and the perfect goal. I mean, it's unreal how perfect and precise you got to be to beat a solid keeper like that.
Yeah, I've said it many times. Reece James is my man. He's my favorite Chelsea player. I think he's Chelsea's most important player, best player. Maybe I'd get laughed out of town if I said that on air, but I just think he's just their most important player. I mean, how many goals can this guy score in crunch time in clutch situations that end up winning Chelsea an insanely important match?
Yeah, El Capitan, he's been unbelievable. He's showing his leadership. I saw a lot of stuff people were saying he was going at it with the Benfica players on the sidelines and things of this sort. So awesome to see from him, and really great just for Chelsea to have a great performance, especially after taking second in their group, maybe not up to par with a lot of people thought, how they would do. And I think the boys were just firing on a lot of cylinders, even though they didn't score a lot of goals per se up until that point. But, through 85 minutes, they had the match won. And if we take it for what it is, which was two separate matches, because, you know, up until the storm delay, that was not one entire match. If we combine pre and post storm. So Chelsea win that first match, completely dominate. And I feel great saying that it was just a completely separate match. I don't care what your opinions are on whether you should have cancellations for storms, whatever the case may be, but it's way, way different. And so then to win the second match as well, after FIFA tries to slide in and give it to Benfica, um, really have to look at the boys and say, okay, this is a young team, one of the youngest in Europe, and still they're able to rise to the occasion. Just unreal. I don't know how much you saw kind of about the storm thing. You know, we're Americans. We understand that's kind of how things are weather-wise in our country, but I was seeing that the amount of time it took the officials to take the players off the field would have just been the time that it would have taken to finish the match.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. I didn't see it, but I would believe it. Like all these matches that I'm watching, the amount of stoppage time and added time just throughout that gets added on. I get that they take these cooling breaks now because every match is 90 degrees and humid, it seems like. But for example, this Bayern match today, 8 minutes of stoppage time after the first half. I mean, come on. It's like they're just throwing out random numbers, pulling players off for storms in the in whatever minute it was, basically the end of the match in stoppage time or whatever with Chelsea. And yeah, it just seems like uh I don't know, the infrastructure in America isn't up to par. The officiating, the organization of the tournament, whatever it is, it just has not been good so far.
Yeah, certainly not a good look. And again, I think we'll maybe reflect more on this at the end of the tournament because I have so many thoughts that I want to get off my chest. But, for Chelsea to come out of a 2 hour break, 2 hour break after essentially playing an entire match, your legs are dead, it's hot as hell, humid as hell. You're talking to your family during the break. You're maybe having a snack. I know both teams have to do it, but you got time to come up with new tactics potentially. You brought in subs that are meant to close out a game, but then you kind of have to almost like start a new game, even if it's only 10 to 15 minutes. It's just a tough thing. And so, they unfortunately do give up that game tying goal in stoppage time of this regular time. And complete joke of a foul leading to the penalty. Complete joke. So what happens is Angel Di Maria is carrying the ball just outside the box, probably 15 yards outside the box. Caicedo is on him, bodies him slightly, doesn't kick his legs at him at all. He's literally just bodying, no grabbing, no kicking, only bodying, but not even the tough shoulders that you see when guys are running at full sprint. We're talking like moving in slow motion, maybe 50%, and he's barely bodying him. And Di Maria doesn't even like flop as a normal flop would be. When let's say you get kind of shouldered, you go, oh, like flop like that.
Hmm.
We're talking like a slow motion. He just kind of uh, goes down, and I'm like, so obvious as a ref, you see that, and it's not a foul. It's never a foul. I don't think I've seen that one time get called in the Premier League, and I've watched a lot of games, and he gives this prime penalty, not penalty, free kick spot, complete joke, after already being a terrible ref all match. And then, that's when the handball occurs. Gusto, they kick it in. Otamendi heads it, goes off of Gusto. It's behind him as he's jumping, and his arm is kind of up. I don't know if you saw it, but to me, it's like, is that a pen? I guess it's slightly unnatural. You maybe shouldn't have your arm up, but I still don't think that's affecting the play.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I agree with you on the foul in the first place for the free kick. That was an egregious call. extra egregious at this point in the match with the implications that it has. The handball, I'm not even gonna try to argue it one way or the other, just because at this point, I feel like I have no idea what's a handball and what's not because of how subjective these calls are. And I see something being called a handball sometimes that it's not, so, other times and vice versa. And it's like, I don't know. I agree with you that I don't think it really affected the play. And so again, to have that be called at this point of a match is just insane. But one other thing to mention about the break that just popped into my mind, and just the weather in this tournament and everything, as you were talking to close the break discussion out, hopefully. Um, First of all, the weather is beneficial for South American teams. Even Benfica from Portugal, they're much more used to this humid, hot weather than a team like Chelsea would be from England or a team like Bayern from Germany. That just is what it is. I guess it's out of everybody's control. But certainly that is a massive, massive benefit. I mean, the Bayern Benfica match was 95 degrees Fahrenheit and just such a slow match. Like it slows things down, and you can tell that some guys just are used to this and some aren't. So say what you will, like I know both teams have to deal with it, but it is certainly a benefit for South American teams lumping Benfica into that being from Portugal. But yeah, the other thing is, I just remembered back in the summer at the Euros, I was down at the German beer hall when Bayern, or not Bayern, Germany was playing, I want to say Switzerland or Denmark. It was a group stage match, and they were playing at Dortmund Stadium there in Germany, and there was a massive storm. I'm talking lightning. The pictures from it are crazy. It looks like there's lightning bolting into the stadium if you look at the pictures. And what did they do there? They handled it how you should handle it. They paused the match for maybe 15 minutes as the lightning was actually happening, and then continued the match from there. So, um, I'm not a weatherman, but I think there's other ways around it than to stop the match for 2 hours at the point of the match when they did.
Yeah, I have to do some research because I was seeing that it's a FIFA regulation that when lightning occurs, you have to wait 30 minutes. And if there's another lightning strike, it's another 30 minutes from that point. We had those rules growing up with baseball. So,
Metal bats, though. I mean, come on,
theory,
metal
right.
bats and kids, a little more
Oh,
dangerous.
totally. Yeah, and it's mostly for the fans, to be
Yeah,
fair.
true.
Theoretically, that international match you're talking about would have also been FIFA. Um, Maybe, I don't know, unless it was like a friendly where it wasn't,
It was in the
just
Euros, so
so Euros. I mean, that's technically FIFA, I think, if it's UEFA, right? UEFA is part of FIFA.
I don't know exactly how it works, but
Either
maybe.
way. So yeah, I don't think it's an American thing. So for those hating America, whatever, still blame FIFA, the corrupt organization that they are. Either way, we'll see next year with the World Cup. But to come back from that, corruption, weather, all the conditions for Chelsea to then say, all right, boys, we don't even have a strong lineup out there. We got Nkunku in, KDH in, Gusto in, who couldn't even do anything on a pitch if you asked him to. No offense to Melo. They then put up 3 goals in extra time. Just special. And Palmer and Caicedo create the first one. Good effort by Nkunku to be there to get the deflection and put it in. Caicedo then again creates the second one, finding Neto for a wide open goal. And then again, good work by Palmer, a little bit Cristo as well on that last one with KDH getting it. So happy for Chelsea that they're able to, with this ragtag squad, even in this later parts of this completely new match against Benfica, as I said, the second match of the two on that day, to step up and be that impressive. You could really argue it was one of the more impressive, probably top 5 wins in in Enzo Maresca's tenure. So props to them for that.
Yeah, and a deserved win by all accounts. Looking at the statistics, it seems like this was Chelsea's match. I'm glad they got the win despite some weird, unexplainable happenings in the match. Yeah, great for some of those guys and Cuckoo especially, who I mean, he's let's be honest, he's probably not going to be on Chelsea next year. But I mean, great for his confidence in this tournament. I can't even remember the last time that guy put a goal in. And KDH as well. Again, who knows what his future holds? But yeah, awesome match from Chelsea. Now they got Palmeiras, I believe. I think they won their match against Botafogo, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yep.
And honestly, really favorable draw for Chelsea. Every match is tough at this point, sure, but I think that Chelsea could definitely make the finals of this tournament. As I texted you, now it looks like they would likely have to go through City in the semis, but without looking too far ahead, it's looking good for Chelsea, and I hope that they continue to put up good performances like this.
Agreed. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see them go against Palmeiras. The Brazilian teams have been really phenomenal overall. They're showing that that league is as good as some of these smaller European leagues, even Ligue 1 potentially could go up against. So they already lost to Flamengo. We'll see what happens. I'm feeling pretty confident about Chelsea's chances. It'll be at night on the 4th of July and will be truly a fascinating watch seeing the future star in London,
I was going to ask about
Esteban
that.
Willian, going up against Mark Cucurella. I mean, that is quite a watch.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that one. Maybe I'll talk about it when we talk about Bayern, but yeah, these Brazilian teams, I mean, it's going to be an away match for Chelsea. Actually, I don't know what stadium it's being played at, but this match against Flamengo for Bayern in Miami was, I mean, they were saying that Flamengo was the most best represented squad in the Club World Cup, and I would believe it because this stadium was crazy. It was rocking. I'm assuming that Palmeiras will have similar support. Bayern also played Boca Juniors in Miami from Argentina, and they had unbelievable support as well. So, yeah, it's not going to be an easy match. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would bet on Chelsea. But again, at this stage, no match is an easy match, and it's just I think it's going to be a fun matchup to watch as a fan.
Super fun. Yeah, super fun. We'll be really looking forward to it. And before we talk Bayern, just want to slip something in here. I'm just seeing that the absolute fraud Jesse Marsh in Canada lost to Guatemala in the Gold Cup. Yikes. Guy talks so much shit about America.
That makes me so happy because Jesse Marsh and the Canadian Football Federation maybe not solely responsible for Alphonso Davies rupturing his ACL and every ligament in his knee, but man, to allow that guy to just walk around afterwards and get back on a plane and go back to Munich without investigating his injury at all, and for him to find out that he had a torn ACL all the way back in Germany, and again every other ligament in his knee, I mean that federation, the Canadian Football Federation, should be under heavy investigation and should be heavily penalized. And I'm so glad that they lost.
Facts. And, of course, I stick my foot in my mouth because I'm going to verify this. But yeah, the USA is actually down 1-0 to Costa Rica 17 minutes in. So not that I'm a fan of them either.
Unbelievable. Well, let's talk about something that we are, or at least certainly I am, a huge fan of, and that's Bayern Munich beating Flamengo 4-2. An awesome match, a super, super exciting up and down match in Miami. And like I said, Flamengo fans were loud, they were raucous, they brought the heat. They clearly were one of the, if not the highest supported team in the Club World Cup. Man, what a crazy match! I know you were away, so you probably didn't get to see it, but I don't know. I can just take the reins and start ripping through it. But do you have any opening thoughts on this match?
Yeah, didn't see a whole lot of it. Scrolled through Twitter a little bit, kind of at the end here. Saw three of the goals. Did not see the own goal, but saw the two Kane, the one Goretzka. But just knowing what I know about Brazilian teams and Flamengo, the way they play hard, the way they foul a lot, tend to get a lot of calls from the ref. It really is an incredible result for Bayern Munich, and they should be very proud.
Yeah, and also the referee in this one was Michael Oliver, one of the worst referees in the world. I would say Oliver, Taylor, and whatever that bald Real Madrid fan's name is. I won't even give him the courtesy of saying his name on this show. So that's how much of a scumbag I think he is. But one of the worst refs in the world. So here we go. Vincent Company put out a strong lineup as expected. Absent Jamal Musiala, which was a surprise to me. I thought he was gonna get the start in this one, but he didn't. So he must not be quite as healthy as we want him to be, but we saw Neuer in between the sticks, no surprise there. Stanisic at left back, Ta and Upamecano center backs, potentially Bayern Munich center back combination of the future, depending on what happens with Kim. Konrad Leimer at right back. Leon Goretzka and Joshua Kimmich was the midfield pivot. Kingsley Coman at the left wing, Serge Gnabry at the 10, Michael Olise at the right wing, Harry Kane at the 9. Um, Solid match from Neuer. I thought overall Neuer had what I I'm debating about giving this the moment of the match, but Neuer had such an incredible save in around maybe the 15th minute or so. Stanisic, I thought was solid, nothing incredible as a left back. Todd and Upamecano, again, I thought were solid, not incredible. Um, well, maybe they were good. I'll say that. Good, not great. How about solid, not incredible? Pretty much the same thing. Conrad Leimer, I actually thought worked his ass off and had a really good match. He would have been my defender of the match there. Kimmich and Goretzka both did great in the midfield. Kimmich, if it wasn't for Kane putting up a godlike performance, you'd give Kimmich the man of the match. Coman and Olise, not their strongest matches on the wing there. Both of them were okay at times, but overall didn't move the needle one way or the other. Serge Gnabry at the 10, he was probably Bayern's worst player, and it sucks because he was Afro Man, Disco Serge Gnabry with the big fro, which I love to see, and I like a lot about Serge Gnabry, as you know. But he did absolutely nothing at the 10. I don't think it's going to be useful to play him centrally. I would have honestly rather seen Muller out there at this point, but um, yeah, I mean, maybe as like a false nine or some sort of a second striker, you could play Gnabry centrally, but I think he's just better as a two striker system or a left wing. And then Kane, you know, I already said it, godlike performance, man of the match, put the team on his back in another knockout match. So everybody online who always goes after me when I talk about Kane, um, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for your comments on this one. Invert the wing. I know you were talking about how Kane fell off lately or whatever. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for all the juice after this one.
Yeah, again, didn't see the match, but saw his two goals, and they were phenomenal goals, you know. So credit to Kane, credit to Bayern. I think he's showing that he always steps up when he needs to, and even when Bayern don't have their best performances at times, you know, I don't know necessarily how the rest of the team did per se, but let's say they don't, he steps up. Let's say they do, he steps up. You know, it's rare that he has a bad day in the office, and I think as he ages, people will start to say even more, as they have been, that he's not going to be as good, but he's still showing that he can step up in the big moments and make big plays and score big goals.
Yeah, perfectly said. Love to hear those words coming out of your mouth, especially. But yeah, I mean, the match started off, honestly, both teams really aggressive in their pressing. Both teams pressed really well throughout the match. Bayern kept it up for longer and did a better, more concise job at pressing throughout the match. Bayern's ball recovery time was incredible, and that's one thing that I'll say Coman, Olise, and Gnabry all did well at was their pressing. All three of those guys great at tracking back as well and defending. So while they weren't doing anything for me at all offensively, those three guys, I mean, Kimmich and Goretzka had a better game than those three in terms of offensive production, but they still really held things down with just their pressing and their ability to track back. But early on in the match, we saw Bayern doing well and Flamengo looking shaky, and we saw a couple of corners. One of them resulted in that own goal in the 6th minute, which was a beautiful corner by Kimmich, and Goretzka and Stanisic kind of both jumped up for it. The ball narrowly missed both of them and actually went off of a Flamengo player's head. So that was how that own goal happened. Just kind of a classic own goal off of a corner. And then shortly after there, in the ninth minute, we saw Kane's first goal, which really came from a great press, a great team press where Upamecano ends up stealing the ball, slotting it over to Kane, who kind of just finds himself with some space outside the box and just rips a shot, gets deflected, but ends up perfectly in the corner of the net, actually off the post and into the back of the net. And from that point, you're thinking that Bayern's cooking. You're seeing Kane ripping these rockets off. You're looking at how well their press is working and flustering Flamengo, and it's like, all right, here we go. Bayern's starting off strong.
Yeah, it's always good to get that first goal. It doesn't matter how it's scored. And I did see a lot on the internet about Bayern's press. Looking at the statistics, it seems as though Flamengo may have been in control in terms of possession a little bit, more shots, more big chances. But if you're the team that's pressing harder and causing the other team to make mistakes and give up costly errors, that to me is a little bit more important. So for Bayern to be doing that in a tournament that supposedly European teams don't care about, that is huge.
Yeah, the stats are surprising to me. I'm looking at them now as well. I would have told you that Bayern had more big chances. I don't know what XG was. I thought Bayern was the better team in this one. Now, granted, Flamengo had stretches where they were very, very good, but Bayern, I thought, had more stretches where they were looking better. It was kind of a confusing match. Again, I think the refereeing played a big part about it. I had a similar problem in this match as I did with the Boca Juniors match, where these South American teams have a different style of play. They're just way more aggressive, so they're fouling all the time, harder fouls, late challenges, just unnecessary bad fouls. And then it's like Bayern's fouls are way softer and like they're getting penalized more for softer fouls. It's like you need to have some sort of a balance in how you're calling the game just because of how different these style of plays are. Hell, at the end of the match, every single foul on Bayern was a yellow card, which was just mind-blowing to me. I don't know why that started to happen. When Flamengo had a couple times in this match, and maybe we'll talk about it, they had one moment where I thought they just effed up Kane's knee. It looked like a Theismann situation, which I hate to bring that graphic image into somebody's mind, but it was studs to the front of his knee and his knee buckled back so late, so unnecessary. Now that was a yellow for Flamengo, but I don't see how that wasn't a red. And just their feistiness after it, they get up and Ta obviously gets in this guy's face as a little bit of an enforcer center back type role. And then Flamengo gets chippy and starts shoving Bayern all over the place. And it's like, I don't know, just stuff that you don't want to see out of a beautiful game, turning a beautiful game a little bit uglier in these moments. And I'm all for, hard play and scrappiness and chippiness, but when these fouls are late and when they're just I'm not saying they're intending to injure guys, but that's what it looks like when you're watching the match. I don't think there's a place for that stuff in this game, and I think a referee needs to get a game under control in these instances. But hey, back to the match. Like I said, Neuer had that save in the 15th minute that was just godly. It was prime Neuer. The reaction time, he stuck out his arm and it reminded me of that save that Neuer had in the Champions League against Ronaldo. I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about, where he just sticks out his arm, insane reaction time, and just the ball rockets off of his arm like a brick. So that I mean that could have changed the match. I mean at that point, 15th minute would have been 2-1. Flamengo was building at that point, and that was one of those moments. It ended up accumulating in the 33rd minute with their goal, just off of a great shot, goes above Neuer's head, and that was kind of a period of the match, maybe 15th to 30th minute or so, where Flamengo was kind of controlling things and kind of dominating the match.
Yeah, and again, not having watched the match, it's tough to say, how it was being dictated, but it's all about moments at the end of the day too, and big swings because you can be controlling a match, as I said, but let's say a big save happens, a big goal, a big mistake, whatever. The emotions, especially in these knockout games, are everything. And I think you're seeing that a lot of these matches, and this makes sense when you have more South American teams, especially, and teams just from around the world, not in Europe, but a lot of them are being played like World Cup matches where it seems like at times the quality is maybe less, but they're more intense, way more physical. And I think there's good parts about that to the game of soccer and also bad parts. But what you said about the ref, something that's so key, you have to take control. And if you don't have control, if you don't set the tone early, it's over. The match is over. The players will do whatever the hell they want. And you might as well not even have a ref out there at that point.
Yeah, great points all around. Certainly. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm just straight up bitching here because I want to give Flamengo a ton of credit. Benfica too in the group stage, and I don't know how they played Chelsea, so I can't talk about that. But these teams and Boca Juniors too against Bayern in the group stage, these teams are putting up great fights and they're putting up great performances. But again, like you said, it's about moments. And in this match in particular, Bayern just took those moments. I mean, Kane took those moments, and also Leon Goretzka in the 41st minute, I think here, just ripping a rocket of a goal. Again, like so far outside of the box, and Goretzka just pummels it in. So hey, all the Goretzka haters out there who every time this guy sniffs the pitch, you're out there screaming, bitching, and moaning all day long. Like, just chill for a second. Like, I get he's not a god, but he's been solid. Like, he's just been solid, and he can do stuff like this. So, um, you know, Bayern really harnessed the moments in this match, and that is, like you said, just what it eventually came down to. Regardless of the stats, the ebbs, the flows, the peaks, the valleys of this match, Bayern harnessed the moments in the right time, and that's why they ended up coming out with the win. So again, I'm not here to defend Leon Goretzka. It's not the hill that I'm gonna die on. He's been pretty mid in this tournament so far, but you don't need to hate on him excessively like all these guys do left and right online. It seems like I don't get why he's so hated, and I'm glad he scored that goal today. So there. Not long after that, though, in Bayern fashion, it seems like they just can't really hold on to a lead for that long. 55th minute, we did see that penalty awarded to Flamengo, a handball on Michael Olise in the box. Unlucky for Olise, just kind of like wrong place at the wrong time, but I'm fine with that call. It seemed like a handball to me. So that yeah, former Chelsea legend converting the the penalty there to make it 2-3. But 59th minute, we finally saw some subs come on because Kingsley Coman did get injured, which is a bummer. I hope he is okay. Bayern is so short at that left wing position now. This was Leroy Sané's last match for Bayern Munich, and we'll get into it later on because he did make a cameo appearance. And in classic Leroy Sané fashion, his last action as a Bayern Munich player was missing a one-on-one with the keeper. So there's that. But yeah, with Coman out, we're going to be super short at the left wing position, and that's a big problem with Kingsley Coman. Unfortunately, I feel like I've beat this horse enough on this show, but I just don't see him ever being healthy for a significant stretch of time. And maybe it's to no fault of his own, but I'm looking at a season you're going to get Coman healthy, maybe 50% of your matches. So he's just not a guy I can rely on that left wing position. Although it does seem like company loves him there and he certainly relies on him. I just don't think you're going to get really close to a full season out of him. So hopefully Coman's okay, but he does go out injured in the 59th minute there. And Goretzka also comes off, and we see Zane and Pavlovic come on right there. And at this point, I'm really starting to wonder what the hell's going on with Jamal Musiala. Is he going to get subbed on at all? I was actually hoping to see Thomas Muller come on in around the 60th minute for Serge Gnabry, who again was a big nothing burger in this game. But we didn't see Muller come on until the very end of the match, and you know, it begs the question. I think Company has not hit all the right buttons in this Club World Cup so far. Again, I'm armchair quarterbacking this. Hindsight is 2020, but you see Jamal Musiala play in an Auckland City match when you're up 7-0 or whatever it was. And you see him play against Boca Juniors, so physical when Bayern was winning, but you don't see him against Benfica. You don't see him until the very end of this knockout match against Flamengo here. And the whole thing with Company throwing a B team up against Benfica in that first half, and then playing most of his best players against Auckland City, a semi-professional team from New Zealand. Again, I'm armchair quarterbacking this, and against Benfica, I'm sure some guys needed a break at that point, but it's questionable. I mean, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about his lineup selections here in this tournament so far? Because I think it's been questionable at best.
Yeah, I haven't quite followed it as closely with the ones I missed last week while gone, but I do still feel like this Club World Cup being a combination of last season, kind of a preseason, getting ready for next season. Yet you have some players that are on your squad that won't be on your squad. Some might have even been sold, in a Leroy Sané, and some guys you don't have yet that you're going to have next year. So I just think it's kind of a tough time to be a manager and know how to manage that. So it, again, all the matches they're playing too, international breaks, important league games at the end of the year, Champions League for Bayern last year, and now this. There's just so many factors that it's tough to analyze exactly what's going on. I almost don't want to put stock into it because it's almost irrelevant. Well, is irrelevant to next year, to be completely honest. And I think he probably wants to win and put out his best team. And yet balance all this. I don't know. It's just almost too much for my mind to even wrap around.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, that is a good point, and I think that's another reason. Again, credit where credit is due. These South American teams are playing so well, but I think that's another aspect of it is like these European teams. I don't want to say they're not trying because they certainly are trying. I mean, Bayern was a pressing machine for moments in this match against Flamengo today, but it does seem like there's a little bit more at stake for these South American teams. And the one place where I will say that this tournament matters a whole hell of a lot for Bayern at least, not as much for Chelsea, but still for Chelsea is the financial aspect of it. This is a lucrative tournament, and the farther you go, the more money you rack up, and that is so important for these South American teams. It's so important for Bayern too, I would argue. Reports are coming out that this might be their first season in the red financially, so that's not good for Bayern. And obviously, trying to make a big splash in the transfer market, they kind of need some money for that. Whereas, it is obviously helpful to a Chelsea, but it's not as helpful to like a Man City, Chelsea, PSG. Certainly not. I think they're pretty much okay with money. But you know what I mean. It's the financial aspect of it is a huge concern slash consideration for me, whereas maybe the sporting aspect isn't always. Although it's going to be fun. I mean, I'm gonna maybe unless Bayern gets crushed, then I'll come on here with some excuse against PSG. But I am looking forward to that match in terms of a sporting sense. But yeah, anyways, back to this one. We see Musiala on in the 72nd. Serge Gnabry finally comes off. Again, Disco Man Serge Gnabry with the afro was looking really good, just wasn't playing very good. And by looking, I mean just physically, his appearance was incredible, but his play was the opposite of incredible. Um, and yeah, then the 73rd minute, we do see that final goal of the match. Harry Kane, maybe the goal of the match. Kimmich gets the assist there, slides it through to Kane. A really good team goal, actually. Kane with just insane pinpoint accuracy, spins around, first touch leads it to where he's gonna spin to. You really just got to watch this one because I probably sound like a fool trying to describe it, but first touch spins around right to where the ball is essentially, and just blindly shoots, blindly because his back was to the goal to start. But again, a distance goal for Kane, a perfect strike. I mean, really just exactly what you want your striker to be doing there. And that was, if Neuer's save in the 15th minute wasn't the moment of the match, this was the moment of the match because this really put a lid on this match. And from this point forward, the air was sucked out of the stadium. And while Flamengo had a chance before this, after this goal, they clearly did not have a chance.
Yeah, credit to Harry as always. Credit to the team. Credit to Serge's hairstylist, barber. All these things are leading to Bayern having success in a big way, and it's great to see. It is great to see. I I'm happy that Bayern and Chelsea didn't face off on a day where I wouldn't have been able to watch the match. Sounds like you wouldn't have been able to either.
Yeah.
Would have been great for the pod, but I'm happy that at the same time both teams are able to get it done, and let's keep hoping that they can both keep going to the championship. But yeah, just great to see Bayern putting up 4 goals in a match. Really fun, exciting, and yeah, I can't say enough. Just excited for them.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost the opposite of a Bayern Munich match where, and that Bayern, I'm sure they outperformed their XG. Like I said, don't know what it was. I'm sure they outperformed it. Where Bayern was actually insanely clinical with their chances, where usually it's like Bayern's dominating possession, they're dominating the match, and they have a couple goals to score to show for it. But in this match, they scored 4 goals with maybe not as much to show for it. So yeah, credit to Bayern for being clinical in their chances in this one. Not much else happened in this match besides 97th or 93rd minute, maybe. Kane and Limer come out, and Muller and Bouet come on. And then, like I said, at the end of the match, about 5 red cards or red cards, Jesus Christ, about 5 yellow cards for Bayern at the end of the match. For some reason, Oliver just gave every single foul as a yellow card for Bayern there. Again, no reason for that when you have players trying to snap Harry Kane's legs in half on Flamengo, and those aren't red cards or anything. So yeah. Um, I think we talked enough about the refereeing in this one. I'll run through a few match awards. Obviously, I gave the man of the match to Kane. I already mentioned that. Robin, Joshua Kimmich, thought he was just dynamite throughout most of the match. Um, and then I'm giving the underrated player to Leon Goretzka for that goal and just overall his performance I thought was solid. And defender, I'm gonna give to Conrad Leimer, and I just wanna shout Limer's praises one more time in this because I thought that Limer was, you know, Kane and Kimmich, you probably have to say were the most important players on the pitch, but I think you could make an argument for Limer. Like I was trying to describe before, he had a hand in multiple goals for Bayern. The guy ran for 90 minutes straight. I mean, he didn't stop running for 1 second in this match. And I'm sitting here in an unair conditioned room and it's maybe what 80, 85 here today, and I'm starting to feel it. So to have him running for 90 minutes straight in a 85-degree Miami humidity Hard Rock Stadium match. I mean, the guy just gave it his all, as he always does. He left it all on the pitch, and his just combinations with Olise, like Limer can see the pitch in a way that is almost Muller-esque. Nobody can see the pitch like Muller can, but Limer, just the way that he combines with Olise, and it's always so adamant to me when he isn't playing, when Bouet's on. Where Bouet's had a solid tournament. Like, don't get me wrong, he's had a very solid tournament at right back, but it's just different when Limer's there, and it's crazy to think that, but I really miss him when he's not on the pitch. So it was great to see him back in there today, just running like a mad dog that he is. King Conrad Limer, shout out to German Football Spotlight. That's what he calls him. And at this point, I don't know how I could disagree with that title.
Yeah, no, he is a dog for sure. Literally, figuratively, mythologically, however you want to say it. So,
Literally?
um, Yeah, no, I mean the way he just runs and runs and runs. Yeah, there's no other way to describe it.
Yeah, especially mythologically, I think. But yeah, I think that's all I got for this one. Man, it's gonna be a damn hard match against PSG in the quarters. I'm already super psyched for it. That'll be July 5th at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time in where will it be? Atlanta? I think it's gonna be in Atlanta. So yeah, that's going to be a good one. I mean, I stand by my statement. PSG is the best team in the world right now. They're the only team that I'm truly afraid of. Bayern beat them in the Champions League this year. Don't forget, PSG won the Champions League, crushed Inter Milan. I think it was 5-0 by the end of that one, in the final. But Bayern did beat PSG 1-0 in the Champions League this year. Two evolved teams at this point. You can't really compare that match to this how this one's going to go, but. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm just excited for it. I mean, this is what you live for, right? A knockout match, 1v1, the best team in France versus the best team in Germany, two of the best teams in the world going at it. So, as much as I think this tournament is, um, let's just say having its faults, which we've definitely talked to a lot in this episode, this match is one of those that, who knows, maybe it'll bring me right back into Club World Cup hype.
Indeed, agreed. I'm pumped. Solid chance I miss every match this weekend, unfortunately. We like to celebrate Independence Day here in America. So it will be interesting. I'm going to try my best to watch both matches. I mean, that Bayern PSG match has the chance to be an all-timer. And I think PSG has shown they have some vulnerabilities. I mean, they lost to Botafogo, so we'll see what happens there, but should be back-to-back days of great matches for the ABC squads here, and the stars could be aligning. The stars could very well be aligning. And honestly, I might have seen it in the stars, being 11 hours up north. I'll tell you what, I was close to those stars, and I might have seen something up there.
Well, we're gonna have to do something very, very special, if that happens. But hey, here's an idea for PSG in this one. Winner winner of this match gets Barcola. How about that?
Winner of the match gets to say that their league is not a farmers league.
Oh boy, that might be a conversation for a different day. And I also thought, honestly, when you were talking about Independence Day, I thought for a second you were gonna go off on a political diatribe. So that might have to be a different episode in um, always Bayern Chelsea political edition.
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, only side note I was thinking about going on, which I'll say now is I do actually mean this. As I was gone for this Independence Day, but shout out to all those that are African American and celebrate what they believe is their day of independence, June 19th. Of course, now a federal holiday in America. So both Independence Days, I think, are important to the history of the country. And for those of you listening that just don't care about that stuff at all, that's not even really political. So just keep listening anyway.
Wise, wise words. And yeah, you have to, as a listener, if you're listening to the show, you have to agree with everything that me and you say. So there's no room for like uh gray area. It's just all black or white. We're always right, and you, as the listener, agree with that.
Absolutely.
All right, well with that, we'll send us off and just subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's a video episode. I never even said that up top, but we're back in video format. I mean, come on, this is awesome. So subscribe to it. Stay tuned for the rest of the Club World Cup. Will both of us being obviously all over the world at this point, in this time of the year, we will keep you updated no matter what. It's our pledge, we're gonna keep you updated. So whether you celebrate American Independence Day or Cinco de Mayo or Juneteenth. Oh, why the hell did I say that?
Cinco de Mayo is not even Mexican independence, as we've had a discussion about, because I knew that it was September 16th. So
It
that's a
never
brutal
was. It
call.
never was, and it's just a bullshit Americanized. Yeah, okay, whatever. Mia san Mia, let's get out of here before I say anything else stupid.
Up the Chelsea.